Looking for a new high performance mid-length to add to your quiver? Well, here's my full review of the Thunderbolt Harley Ingleby Mid 6 Twin. Hi guys, Chris from Stoked with Travel here, or welcome back to the channel. Now this week we're back on the mid-length surfboards, one of my favourite category of boards to review. Now I recently took the Mid 6 Twin on my trip to the Maldives to test out and review, and it was a board that absolutely blew me away and took me completely by surprise. Now I actually wasn't going to add this board to my quiver, but I got the opportunity to take it with me on my Maldives trip, and from the first session I had it out, I was absolutely hooked. So if you're looking for a performance and mid-length to add to your quiver, the Harley Ingleby Mid 6 Twin is definitely one to consider, and this review runs through exactly why. So who is the Thunderbolt Mid 6 Twin aimed at? Well, as you might have guessed, the Mid 6 Twin is the follow-on from the original Mid 6, which was one of the first high-performance mid-lengths that really kind of took the world by storm and is a staple of a lot of people's quivers. For me, the Mid 6 Twin follows the kind of skill level of that as well, which kind of like mid-range, intermediate through to expert. If you are at that lower end of the surfing spectrum, yes, you can surf the Mid 6 Twin, but I don't feel like it's going to give you the stability and paddle power that you're going to need to progress and feel comfortable on this board. If you're kind of in that mid-range, intermediate and upwards though, you're going to absolutely froth over this board. It's got so much performance in it. It can handle a wide range of wave conditions, and you can really push this as far as your skill level allows. You've only got to check out some of the clips on YouTube. Harley Ingleby absolutely tearing around on this thing. People really putting it through the test into big punchy conditions, barreling surf. It can handle it all. If you are at that lower end of the spectrum, yes, you will be able to paddle in and you will be able to get that twin fin feeling from this board, but other options in the Thunderbolt range are definitely going to suit beginner and low-end intermediate surfers a lot more. So boards like the Harley Ingleby Mo are a great kind of beginner intermediate mid-length. The Skin Dog Over is another personal favorite of me, that kind of also suits that lower-end range as well as it does kind of more experienced surfers too. But yeah, the more experienced you are, the more you'll get out of the Mid 6 Twin, but definitely mid-range, intermediate and above. Now, when it comes to the best wave conditions for the Mid 6 Twin, this board definitely likes something a little bit bigger and a little bit punchier. Don't get me wrong, you can surf this in smaller, mushier conditions, but I found personally that this thing really lit up when it had a little bit more size and a little bit more shape to it. I have surfed it in some smaller conditions, mainly on reef breaks, so it did have a good bit of power behind it, and it went really well. And I've also surfed it back in Australia as well in some kind of smaller, mushy conditions, and it was still really, really fun, but I definitely got more fun and more performance out of this board the bigger it got and the punchier it got. So if you're surfing kind of punchy beach breaks, punchy points, reefs, this board's going to be absolutely epic to surf. If you're surfing kind of everyday, kind of more mushy, fatter conditions, there are definitely twin fin mid-lengths that will handle those conditions a little bit better. But it does cover a huge spectrum, especially in that 610 model, which gives you a lot of paddle power and a lot of glide into the waves. But yeah, bigger, punchier conditions is where this board really lights up. So now let's talk board breakdown and dimensions. Now currently the Mid 6 Twin comes in two sizes, the 6'4" and the 6'10". And now the board I tested out was the 6'10" model, which is what I feel is going to be what most people are going to want out of this board, especially if you're looking for a mid-length. If you're looking for a high performance twin fin, obviously if you want it in the shortboard one, the 6'4" is going to be the go. But if you want that kind of more mid-length feel, then the 6'10" is definitely the better option. It follows the same kind of outline as the original Mid 6. It's kind of quite pulled in nose and a very pulled in round tail with quite high performance rails, especially through that back third of the board going through the fins. Obviously the biggest characteristic of the Mid 6 Twin, like the original Mid 6, is that 6-channel bottom that runs through the back. This gives a lot of extra speed and flow to the board, and also that extra bit of grip as well. I was really pushing it on some of my bottom turns and this board held really nicely. Didn't feel quite as loose as a traditional twin, which is what I really liked, especially on my backhand. It just gave me that bit more confidence, bit more drive, a bit more speed out of my turns as well. But yeah, in terms of board breakdown, 6'10" was my absolute favorite. If you do want to be able to whip it around a little bit more in the pocket, get it that little bit more vertical, you might find the 6'4" is good. But if you're looking for that mid-length feel, the 6'10" is the win. Now, when it comes to fin setup on the Mid 6 Twin, it is a dedicated twin model, and the pairing for this one is the FCS Power Twin. And the Power Twin is a twin fin set that Harley Ingleby actually designed for FCS quite a few years ago. It's one of their best-selling twin fins. and it goes absolutely perfectly in this board, as you would expect. Harley and Billy designed the board around the Power Twin set, so this is the one that definitely pairs up beautifully with it. Gives you lots of release, the twin fin gives you that really nice playful speed and flow, and of course those channels complement it really nicely for that extra bit of hold. So yeah, Mid-6 Twin, Power Twin for the win. Now construction-wise, the Mid-6 Twin comes in Thunderbolt Red technology and also Thunderbolt Black. Now the Thunderbolt Red technology is my preferred one. It's that little bit more durable, a little bit more kind of everyday surfer on it. The Black, on the other hand, is a little bit lighter and a little bit more high performance. So it really depends kind of what you're using this board for. If you're kind of just surfing in everyday waves, you're not a super high performance surfer like myself, I'm not afraid to admit that, Thunderbolt Red is great, it feels great underfoot. If you are pushing it to the extreme, you really want the top performance out of this board, then the Thunderbolt Black is another great option to check out. If you check out the links in the description below, you can view all the difference between the Thunderbolt technologies, but the overall thing of them is they're light, durable, and really high performance. And the all-important question, what is the Mid-6 Twin like to actually surf? Well, for me, the Mid-6 Twin caught me by surprise. It wasn't a board I was really aiming to add to my quiver, but when I got the opportunity to take one with me to the Maldives, I was like, why not? Might as well test it out. Got some nice empty reef breaks there to play around with. Great for board testing. Now, on my first stop at Past the Point, I took the Mid-6 Twin out for a blast on a day with just a couple of people out, so I could get plenty of waves. And from my first wave, I was absolutely hooked. I took off, I did one of the best turns I've done in a long time. I was like, wow, this thing is absolutely magical. From then on, that was pretty much the only board I surfed for the whole trip. It's really fast. It's got really nice flow to it. The rail-to-rail transitions with that nice pulled-in pintail make turning absolutely beautiful. It feels really good underfoot. Now those channels and that kind of more pulled-in nose allow for a lot of speed and a lot of glide. You can make sections really easily, and it really holds a lot of speed the whole way through your turn. The other thing for me as well, as a goofy footer, with those channels, it just gives me that little bit of extra grip, especially on my backhand. I find it just gives me that more confidence to have a bigger turn, push it that little bit harder. And whilst it has all the fun of a twin fin that I really like, it still doesn't feel too loose. Even with those upright power twins in, it didn't feel like it was too loose. I still felt like I had a lot of control throughout my whole surf with it. Now the speed on this thing, as you would expect from the Mid-6, is absolutely insane. You can gun it down the line, you can easily make sections, and those channels mixed with that long rail line, especially on the 610, allow you to carry a lot of speed. So you can really push this board. I surfed it in kind of like waist high to overhead, and I had no problems with it. I really pushed it further than I thought I could go with the twin fin, and I still felt super comfortable. When I was down in the southern atolls at Niama, we had kind of a bit of bigger, punchier swell. I dropped into on some waves. I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to hold this on a 20. And no worries at all. I felt absolutely great. So my takeaway from the Mid-6 Twin is fast, flowy, and just really good fun. It has everything I love from a mid-length, so that paddle power, that ease of glide, and of course your wave count, but it has a lot more performance than a lot of my other mid-lengths. Which you kind of would expect because it's dropping out into that 610 range, which is a lot smaller than my other boards, such as the Over and the TJ Pro Mid. It has a lot more performance and is a lot more comparable to, say, the Slater Designs Boss Up. Now, if you are comparing the Mid-6 Twin with the Slater Designs Boss Up, which I do surf as a twin with a trailer, again, the Mid-6 Twin definitely has a lot more performance and a lot more speed involved in it. The 7.2 in the Boss Up is great fun as a twin with a trailer, but I would still pick the Mid-6 Twin every time. As I said before, this wasn't a board that I was thinking about adding to the quiver. I just had the opportunity to test it out on this trip, and it's now become an absolute staple. I really like it. I'm going to be grabbing it on those bigger, punchier days, or when I want to throw something around a little bit more, or those points are working. It's a really good fun board, and if you're looking for a performance mid-length, it's definitely one to consider. And there you have it, guys. That's my full review of the Thunderbolt Mid-6 Twin. If you're looking for more mid-lengths to add to your quiver, make sure you check out the links in the description below to my other videos, guides, and reviews. That's it for this week, guys. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next week. You.